Welcome and good afternoon. This is Commish Orr. It's time for Game 5 of the Best of the 1990s World Series using season ticket baseball featuring the 1990 Oakland Athletics and the 1998 Atlanta Braves. If you haven't watched games 1 through 4, well, pause here and take a look at those. But if you're still here, ready for some spoilers, it looked like it was going to be a sweep after the first 4 innings or so, 3.5 innings, I should say, because the Atlanta Braves had a 6-1 lead on the 1990 Oakland Athletics with Greg Maddux on the mound, who had an ERA below 1 and had pitched 3 shutouts in 5 games. In fact, Oakland didn't have a hit through the first 3 innings. Rickey Henderson walked, stole a base, and scored later in the inning on a ground out to give Oakland their only run at that point. But this Oakland team wasn't done yet, as they scratched their way back with a few runs here, a few runs there. And finally, with a home run from Rickey Henderson, tied the game. And then a few batters later, Dave Henderson hit a 2-run homer to give Oakland the lead. Greg Maddux allowed 8 earned runs in his start. Crazy stuff. And Oakland came out on top 9-6. So they avoid the sweep, but they still have a road ahead of them, as they'll have to take the next 3 games in a row. And this today is the last game in Oakland. So I've already rolled for weather. And take a look here. We're on October 20th. And this 5 plus 7 is a 12. A nighttime game in October. 61 degrees. Beautiful 61 degrees at game time. This is a 14 down here, -2 is a 12, which means it's cloudy skies. And this 16 means the wind is blowing from right to left. Right to left means +1 on deep drives to left and -1 on deep drives to right. So we'll keep that in mind in today's game here in Oakland Coliseum. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for these teams. Leading off, much like yesterday's lineup actually, leading off at shortstop for the Atlanta Braves is Walt Weiss. Batting second is Keith Lockhart playing second base. Chipper Jones batting third at third base. And the guy who's given Oakland real trouble here in the last couple of games, Andres Galarraga, batting the cleanup spot at first base. Javi Lopez is catching and batting fifth. Gerald Williams batting sixth and DHing today. Andrew Jones batting seventh in center field. He's out home run in the last couple of games. Michael Tucker in right field batting eighth, and Danny Bautista in left field and batting ninth. Klesko should be back in the lineup when the series, if the series has to head back to Atlanta after today's game. Ryan Klesko will be back in the lineup, but Danny Bautista did have a home run in yesterday's game. On the mound, also pitching on 3 days rest, is Tom Glavine. Glavine took a shutout into the 9th inning in Game 2 before a 2-run homer from Dave Henderson ended the shutout, but Glavine did come out on top 8-2 in that contest. Now for the home team, Oakland Athletics, leading off in left field is Rickey Henderson. Henderson had a 1-for-12 start to this World Series, but came through big time yesterday. Batting second in center field, Willie McGee. Batting third and right is Jose Canseco. Batting fourth at first base, Mark McGwire. Bash Brothers have been quiet in the World Series so far. Dave Henderson DHing, batting fifth. Walt Weiss at shortstop, batting sixth. Carney Lansford batting 7th at third base. Terry Steinbach behind the plate, batting 8th. And finally, Mike Gallego is in the number 9 spot at second base in place of the injured Willie Randolph, who's out for the series. And pitching for Oakland will be their Game 1 starter, Bob Welch. Welch actually matched Maddox fairly well in Game 1, allowing just 1 run, and that came in the 8th inning. So we'll see if he can have another great start today. With all that said, we are ready for game time here. We're ready for the first pitch to Walt Weiss. 349 for Weiss. And Weiss draws a walk to lead off this game. Weiss had been hitting .250. Draws a walk to lead things off here, and right away he's going to check for steal, but Welch holds runners on pretty well, and so he is not going to get a lead. Keith Lockhart, 479, and that's a deep fly to center. McGee will have room near the warning track, and that will be out number 1. Chipper Jones, he's had a quiet series, fairly quiet series. 678. That should be something, I believe. 678, and no, that's a wild pitch. That one goes to the backstop, and Weiss will advance to second on the wild pitch. Welch deals .215, and Chipper's a switch hitter, and that's ball 4. Chipper draws a walk here. 2 walks here in the first inning from Welch. Runners on first and second. And the dangerous Andres Galarraga. Galarraga had 2 home runs in both games 2 and 3. Led off with a home run in yesterday's game. So Welch will have to be careful here. 243, and he will be careful. That's a 583, and McGee will haul this one in for out number 2. So Oakland fans let out a sigh, as in the first inning of the last 3 games, Galarraga has put a couple runs on the board. So Javi Lopez, 610, and that should end it here. 610 is a strikeout. Lopez strikes out for out number 3 here in the first inning. So Welch, a couple of walks, but he gets through the inning, scoreless inning, the first scoreless inning since game 1. Oakland hoping to turn things around and pull off a miraculous comeback here. We head to the bottom of the first, and Ricky Henderson will step in against Glavine. 101 becomes a 301. He strikes him out. Ricky strikes out. Watching strike 3 go by. And actually, let me back that up, because redirects, I usually say, are caught looking. So just for my own purposes, strike out looking for Ricky. All right. A good start here for Glavine, and he'll face Willie McGee. 484, and that's going to be a base hit. McGee drills this one into right center, and he will definitely see about stealing, but he's not going to get a lead here. 8 plus his steal is only an 8. And Glavine is fairly good at keeping people on himself with a hold rating of 8 as well. Canseco, 464. That's dangerous territory, and that is deep back at the wall and out of here. A home run for Jose Canseco here in the first inning. This is the first home run for either Canseco or McGuire in the World Series, and it gives Oakland one of their rare leads of the series. 2-0 here in the first inning. McGuire, 184, and McGuire gets some contact on it, puts it just over the infield for a base hit. 3 straight hits here for Oakland in the first inning. And up steps Dave Henderson. Henderson with a big home run in yesterday's game. 369. Henderson hits one to third, not with a lot of speed on it. They make a play, but Henderson's going to beat it out for an infield single. 4 straight hits now for Oakland in the first inning. Runners on first and second. Weiss steps in. 534. That's a grounder to Galarraga. He makes the stop. His only play will be to first base. Takes it to the bag himself. So there's 2 down, but runners on second and third now for Kearney Lansford. Glavine trying to get out of this inning. 170. And that's not going to do it as Lansford laces this one into the outfield. McGuire will score. Henderson around third, and he will score. And that's a 2-run single for Lansford. Oakland now up 4-0 here in the first. Steinbach steps in. Steinbach's a righty. That will be a fly out to right. Tucker under it for out number 3, but not before. 4 runs here in the first inning for Oakland. It's a big turnaround from the way the last few games have been. Oakland offense finally coming alive here. Atlanta now trying to get this back. Atlanta's not had that much trouble scoring in the past few games, but we'll see how they do here. Welch deals to Gerald Williams. 598. And that's going to be a base hit. Canseco thought he might have a play on it at first, but lets it drop. And Gerald Williams will have a single here. A leadoff single in the second. He is not going to attempt because they're now not in the lead anymore or tied. Andrew Jones. 573. That's to Ricky in left. He makes a running grab. And that will be the first out. Michael Tucker steps in. And that one gets by Steinbach. Williams will advance to second on the pass ball. And Tucker will have another chance here. And he draws the walk. Ball 4. So first and second here for, once again, much like the first inning, first and second for the Braves. 1 down, Danny Bautista. Bautista in for the injured Klesko. 247. Bautista's a righty. That's a 587. And that one is going to be... That one's going to bounce over the wall for a ground rule double. Williams will score, of course. Tucker advances to third, and they'll hold him up. He likely would have scored. Instead, he holds at second, or excuse me, holds at third on the ground rule double. So Atlanta threatening here too. Second and third, just 1 out. Back to the top of the order with Walt Weiss. 153. Weiss hits one to Henderson. Henderson doesn't have to move much on it, right at him. And it's not going to be deep enough for Tucker to try to tag up on. So that's going to be 2 down. Keith Lockhart. 689. That's going to be something. 689. And that's a base hit. Lockhart with a single. Tucker will score, and Bautista's around third. And he will score. And just like that, it's a 4-3 ball game here as the Braves respond with 3 runs here in the second. Still 2 down. Lockhart on first. Chipper Jones at the plate. 482. And that's going to be a deep drive to right. Deep to right is a -1 because the wind is blowing right to left. Yeah, -1. So this should be fine. 10 plus 7 is 17. -1 is 16. Deep right field 16. And the wind held this one in a little bit. And Canseco is able to make the play near the warning track and right for out number 3, but not before Atlanta responds with 3 runs in the second. We now have a 1-run ball game here, 4-3, as we head to the bottom of the second. Gallego will step in against Glavine. And he strikes him out. Second strikeout for Tom Glavine here.
I don't understand.
Back to the top of the order for Ricky Henderson. 254. And Henderson grounds this one to third. Jones across to Galarraga for out number 2. So Ricky 0 for 2 today. Willie McGee, 396. That's going to be a base hit to right. McGee with his second hit of the day, 2 for 2 now, with a 2-out single. 8+ steal. Okay, he's not going to go anywhere. Brings up Canseco. Canseco with the big home run in the first inning. But he strikes out. Glavine threw that one by him. That's his 3rd strikeout of the game now. And that ends the inning. We head to the top of the 3rd. Still 4-3. Galarraga steps in. And he strikes him out. It's a 2nd strikeout from Welch. Galarraga 0 for 2 now today. Javi Lopez struck out in his first at bat. He grounds one to second. Gallego to McGuire for out number 2. Gerald Williams had that leadoff single in the last inning. This time, grounds it to third. Lansford with the easy play, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. We head to the bottom of the 3rd. Oakland still holding on to a 4-3 lead. Big Mac. And he grounds this one to second. Lockhart over to first. 1 down. That brings up Dave Henderson. Henderson lifts one to center. Andrew Jones ranges a little bit to his right. Easy play for out number 2. Walt Weiss, 695. That's going to be something. That's going to be a 705 with the home team. But Weiss doesn't have much power. 8 plus 1 is a 9. So deep center to 9. And that's actually a double into the gap. Weiss, center field arm is very good. It's Andrew Jones. So Weiss will hold at second with a double here, a 2-out double here in the 3rd inning. Lansford drove in 2 runs in the first, looking to do something here to extend Oakland's lead. 187, and that's going to do it. That's a bloop base hit. Weiss around third, and he will score. And Oakland now has a 5-3 lead. That's the 3rd RBI for Carney Lansford. Terry Steinbach. And that is another little bloop hit. Nobody can get to it. Lansford will round second, and he'll get to third. So he was running on contact there. And we have runners on the corners now with 2 out. Brings up Gallego, 452. And Gallego hits this one back up the middle. Glavine gets a glove on it. Throws over to first, and he just beats him. That's out number 3, but not before Oakland gets 1 run back. 5-3 now, Oakland. Glavine will be subject to fatigue now that he's allowed 5 runs. So top of the 4th, Andrew Jones. And Jones grounds this one to third. Lansford over to first. 1 out. Michael Tucker. And Tucker will lace a base hit to right. A 1-out single here for Tucker. And he takes a look, but not able to get a lead here off of Welch. Danny Bautista, who had an RBI double in the second. 463. He grounds this one to third. Lansford to Gallego, but that's all they can get. Bautista beats the relay. Now we're back to the top of the order. 2 down, runner on first. Walt Weiss. And he strikes him out. Big strikeout there for Welch to end the inning. We head to the bottom of the 4th. Oakland, 5-3. Let me just double check that rule here. Getting blown up after they've allowed 5 or more runs. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, Glavine will be subject to fatigue now, but let's see what happens here with Ricky. 376, and that's another grounder to third, right at Chipper Jones, who throws to first for out number 1. Ricky 0 for 3 today. Willie McGee, 651 becomes a 661 for the home team. And this is a ground ball to short. Weiss up with it. And that's 2 down. 2 quick outs here to start the 4th. Canseco, 185. That's going to be something. It is. That's a base hit. A 2-out single here for Canseco. And Glavine now has 1 level of fatigue. Canseco going to take a look at stealing because the 2 here is less than his steal. So 17 plus his steal is 23. It's not, so he's definitely going to get a lead. 10 plus his speed is 13, and he's going to get thrown out here. Canseco trying to get something going here, and he gets gunned down at second. And that ends the inning. Had a decent lead, but unfortunately, Javi Lopez gunned him down. So we head to the top of the 5th. Oakland still up 5-3. Welch deals against Lockhart. 114 becomes a 314, and he strikes him out. Borderline pitch there on the corner. Lockhart exchanges a couple words with the ump, but that will bring up Chipper Jones. 119 becomes a 319, and that's another strikeout. Welch is fooling Atlanta here in the 5th inning. That's 2 straight caught lookings. Brings up Galarraga. 239. And this is going to be something. 579. And that's going to be a 2-out single here for Galarraga. Henderson can't make the play on it. All right, that brings up Javi Lopez. 2 out. Runner on. 330. And that's another strikeout. Welch strikes out the side here in the 5th. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Oakland's still up 5-3. Glavine will deal to McGuire. 1 level of fatigue now for Glavine. 118 becomes a 318, and he strikes him out. McGuire watches strike 3 go by. That is the 4th strikeout for Glavine. Dave Henderson. 624 becomes a 634 for home, 644 for fatigue. And this one's a grounder back to Galarraga, and he'll beat Henderson to the bag for out number 2. Walt Weiss. 250. And so Weiss will be a righty. And he grounds this one to third. Chipper has the ball, makes the play. 1-2-3 inning here. So that gets us to the top of the 6th. Welch has a 5 stamina, so he will be subject to fatigue now here in the 6th. Facing Gerald Williams. 542. And I'll have to check Gallego. 542. And that's a grounder to second. Easy play to first. 1 down. Andrew Jones, he's 0 for 2 today. 214, and he strikes him out. Welch, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's his 7th strikeout now. He's gotten stronger these last couple of innings. Michael Tucker, 607. And he's going to get out with a 1-2-3 inning of his own, as that's another strikeout. 5 strikeouts in these last 2 innings for Welch. 1-2-3 inning here in the 6th. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Oakland still up 5-3. Bottom of the order here for Glavine, starting with Lansford. Lansford is 2 for 2 with 3 RBI. Couple of clutch base hits for him. 680 becomes a 690 and then a 700 for home team. And Lansford draws a leadoff walk. It's a 2nd level of fatigue now for Glavine. And brings up Terry Steinbach. 690, oh boy. Oh boy. That's going to be a deep drive to center. 9 plus 4 is a 13, plus the 6 is a 19. Deep drive to center 19. That's deep. That is back. And that is out of here. A 2-run homer from Terry Steinbach here in the 6th inning. Oakland now with a 7-3 lead. And that is going to be it for Tom Glavine. Glavine, 5 innings pitched. Once again, was pitching on short rest. And let's see who is going to be coming in to pitch. Looks like it'll be Dennis Martinez. They need some innings. And they will turn things over to Dennis Martinez to get him some innings. Teams do have a day off tomorrow. If necessary, which Oakland's up 7-3 at this point, but the Braves still have 3 innings here. All right. Martinez deals against Gallego here. And that's a fly ball to left. Bautista not with a lot of range, but he does get to it in time, and that's out number 1. Back to the top of the order, Ricky Henderson. Henderson 0 for 3 today. And he draws a walk. And you know he's going to try to see about stealing. 9 plus his steal is a 13. Martinez only has a hold of 2, so that's going to be good for a good lead. 11 plus his speed, 19. That's going to be well more than enough. And Ricky steals second here. Willie McGee, 171. And that's a bloop hit. McGee's going to be 3 for 4 now. Henderson, though, has to hold up at third. So McGee also will take a look at stealing, but he doesn't. So Canseco now with runners on the corners and 1 out. Defense is playing corners in. It won't matter as this is another bloop hit. That will score Henderson. McGee holds at second. And Canseco is 3 for 4 now. So first and second, 1 out. And Martinez will now be subject to fatigue himself. Mark McGuire. McGuire hits this one to third. Chipper makes the stop. His only play will be to first, though. So 2 down and runners advance. Second and third now. Dave Henderson. Boy. Dave Henderson just makes enough contact. McGee will score. Canseco will score. A 2-run single here for Henderson. Oakland now up 10-3. Martinez with 1 level of fatigue. He'll stay in to try to get Weiss out to end this inning. And Weiss lifts this one deep to right. Tucker will have room here. A big inning for Oakland. 5 runs. And that extends the lead to 10-3. What was a close game has now gotten out of hand. Welch has been good these last few innings. He'll face Bautista to lead off the 7th. And Bautista grounds this one to second near the bag. Gallego over to first. 1 down. Top of the order, Walt Weiss. Oh, that's going to be a deep drive, deep to right. 3. And it's -1. It's 2, actually, but this is going to be a base hit, I'm sure. Yes, this is a single. So Weiss with a base hit here. It's his first hit of the game. 1 for 3 now. And not going anywhere. Keith Lockhart. 161. And Lockhart draws a walk. So Welch now has 2 levels of fatigue. Runners on first and second. 1 out. Chipper Jones. And he strikes him out. Big strikeout for Welch, who has 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. That's his 9th strikeout, folks. Galarraga. 232, and he's a righty. This one's back to Welch. He gets a glove on it and over to first to end the inning. So Galarraga had a chance to do something there. Not able to do anything. All right, Martinez has 1 level of fatigue now, and he will come out of this game. Oh, let's see here. Probably Springer. I just need to eat a couple of innings here. Yeah, I think Russ Springer will come into pitch. Oops, there we go. He will face the bottom of the order, but Oakland has been Oakland's offense has really lit up in these last two games. Springer will deal to Lansford. And Lansford dribbles one on the infield. They'll have no play at first. Lansford now 3 for 3. What a game for him. And he will try to get a lead, but it is not going to happen. So Terry Steinbach. Steinbach with a big 2-run homer in the last inning. 116 becomes a 316, and he strikes him out. Watches strike 3 go by. That'd be 1 out here. Gallego 0 for 3 today. 108 becomes a 308. And that's another strikeout. Right on the corner. 2 down now. Back to Ricky Henderson. 352. And Henderson draws a 2-out walk here. Fortunately for Ricky, he has nowhere to go on the base paths. So runners on first and second, 2 down. And Willie McGee. 650. That will become 670 because of 2 levels of fatigue. 670. And McGee will ground this one to first. Galarraga flips to Springer. And that will end the inning. So Springer able to get through the inning. But Oakland still putting some hits together. Welch, 2 levels of fatigue. He stays in here for the top of the 8th. He'll face Lopez, Williams, and Andrew Jones. 233. And Lopez grounds this one back to Welch, who throws to first for the first out. Gerald Williams. Williams hits one on the ground to second. Gallego over to first for out number 2. Braves going down quietly here. See if they can turn something around. 664 becomes a 684. That should be something. 684, and it is. It's a 2-out single here for Andrew Jones. It is the 8th inning, and they trail, so he is not going to attempt to get a lead here. He leaves things to Michael Tucker. 194. And Tucker pops this one up on the infield in foul territory. Lansford will be under it. And that's 3 down. It's another scoreless inning here for Welch. Time is running out for Atlanta. So Springer had 1 inning. And 2 levels of fatigue. Martinez had 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of... Oh, no. 1 level of fatigue also. Because he had an inning of 1. Okay. Let's see here. I think they're going to turn things over to Wohlers because this is kind of junk time at this point. They do have a day off tomorrow. They do have a day off tomorrow. They'll bring in Wohlers anyway. He's kind of their mop-up guy. And he will face Canseco, McGuire, and Henderson here. Dave Henderson, that is. Starting with Canseco. 102 because of 3-2, and he strikes him out. Canseco fooled by that one. Thought it was off the plate, but it was not. McGuire. 694 because of oh boy, folks. 704, that's going to be a deep drive to center. 13 plus 9 is 22. McGuire gets a hold of this one. It's back. It's way back, and it is out of here. A home run for McGuire. It's now 11-3. The Bash brothers both bashed today. Yep, 13 plus 9, 22. Almost one of those weird outs at the end. 22. One more and it would have been. So Dave Henderson, Wohlers, things aren't going to get easier for him as that's a walk for Henderson. That will bring up Walt Weiss. 341, and that is another infield hit. Been several of those. First and second now with one out. Wohlers just trying to get through the inning at this point. Lansford. 118 because of 318, and this is a deep fly to center. Andrew Jones will have room, though. And that's 2 down. Steinbach. Steinbach's 2 for 4. 238 because of 438. And Steinbach grounds this one to second. That'll end the inning. Lockhart will flip to Weiss. Get the close bag here. But not before Oakland scores another run. Welch, coming out of today's game, he did everything that they needed him to do as he goes 8 innings. He went 8 innings in his first start, went 8 innings here. And they have a plenty of lead. So they're going to bring in Rick Honeycutt. Honeycutt has blown some leads for them, but they have a huge lead here. It would take a miraculous comeback. And so Honeycutt goes out there to start things off. Honeycutt a lefty, and he'll face Bautista to lead things off in the 9th. Braves bench. It's not very deep. But, they have a couple of guys they could bring in here to pinch hit. Then we would need somebody to take the place of Bautista if it came to that, which it probably won't. So Curtis Pride, Ozzie Guillen. Yeah, Ozzie Guillen will pinch hit here for Bautista. Bautista's, he is 1 for 3. He had a good game last game. Let's just let him bat. 385. And he grounds to third. Lansford over to first for the first out. Thought about pinch hitting, but he's had a good couple of games. Walt Weiss. Weiss had a base hit in the 7th. 549, and this is going to be something. Is it going to be an error? Probably. It is. Gallego can't get a handle on it. And Weiss will be on first with reaching on that error. It brings up Keith Lockhart. 251. And he's a lefty. And this is a pop-up in foul territory. Lansford with plenty of room. 2 down. Once again, that would have been out number 3. Chipper. He's 0 for 3 today. Last hope, 296. That is going to be a deep drive to left. Not going to be deep enough. 6 plus 7 is 13. Plus 1 for the win is 14. Deep left, 14. And Henderson will be under this one. Closes his glove, and that is out number 3. And just like that, Oakland with a huge win, 11-3. Glavine with the loss, again on 3 days rest. Welch with a big win. He's been the pitching star of this postseason for Oakland at least. And boy, look at all of these base hits. 17 hits. So Atlanta, 3 runs on 7 hits and no errors. Oakland, 11 runs on 17 hits and 1 error. And there were some walks in there too. Canseco, 3 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBI. Big game for him. McGuire had a home run as well. Carney Lansford, 3 for 4 with 3 RBI. He had some key base hits as well. Steinbach, 2 for 5 he had a 2-run homer there that kind of put the final nail in the coffin. Big, big game for Oakland. Oakland keeps their hopes alive. Still down 3-2, but they're taking it 1 game at a time. And things head to Atlanta now. The teams will have a day of travel as they head back to Atlanta. And now, Denny Nagel will be on the mound for Atlanta in his first start of the World Series. They've kind of been putting him off, not intentionally, but Maddox and Glavine both moved themselves up in the rotation on 3 days rest. And Smoltz, remember, Smoltz is injured. He's out for the tournament, so he's not coming back. Millwood would be available. But, yeah, it'll be Nagel. So Nagel will pitch game 6. And I believe, this goes over here. Yep, there we go. So Nagel will pitch game 6, and then we'll make a decision after that. But one thing at a time here. One thing at a time. Who will be pitching for Oakland? It looks like it's going to be Sanderson. Looks like it will be Sanderson. Unless Stewart. Well, either way, they got to pitch one of them. Let's see, Stewart would need a 0, a 1, or a 2 on this white die. 0, 1, or a 2 on this white die. A 0. So, Oakland is going to be bringing in Dave Stewart on 3 days rest to pitch in game 6. They want to force a game 7 any way they can, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to have their best pitcher out there facing off against Denny Nagel, who has not pitched for quite some time. He hasn't pitched in this series yet. So there you have it, folks. Oakland, don't count them out yet. They're still down 3-2. but they've shown some life here in their offense the last 2 games. So, with all that said, this is where we end things. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think Oakland can come back and win in the next 2 games here, or are they just extending their misery? Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate the support, and until next time, have a great evening.